Good afternoon, SJHL fans. It's time for SJHL Weekly, presented by UPL. I'm your host, Clark Munroe. Thanks for joining us today. Obviously, it's a weird start time today. It's a 2 p.m. start time, so those who are used to either 1 o'clock or 1:30, we're just pushing it a little bit today. Some schedules came into play, some schedule conflicts, so we're making it work. We're making it happen. And we have a great show for you today either way, including a recap of the games over the weekend and a look ahead to a busy week of games ahead. And we're going to announce Players of the Week. Nugsy gets some birthday wishes. Happy birthday to Nugsy over the weekend later in the show. And we're going to be joined by Nipawin Hawks captain Finley Radloff. So it's going to be a great show. Excited to get into it. Before we get into it, though, let's talk about our sponsors and give them a big thank you. Of course, Cantera Seeds, Borgo, Capital Auto Mall, Sask Lotteries, Chevrolet, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, Nutrien, Tourism Saskatchewan, Sask Energy, UPL, as I mentioned, SGU, Great Western, SGI, and RBC. Thanks to all of those guys. And thanks to these guys beside me here for being here today. Jamie Neugebauer on my far left and Rory McGouran right beside me here. Guys, big weekend in the SJHL, but the Grey Cup also happened. And I know, Rory, you're from Winnipeg, you're from Manitoba, and they didn't have the best finish. Nugsy, you're from the Toronto area. You're not necessarily an Argos fan. Did you guys have a bet on this game at least? No. Did you watch the game, though, a little bit?
Of course, yeah. Well aware. I mean, you know, we can get the comments out now that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers did lose.
Feel free to comment in and give Rory your condolences.
And I told Megan while we were watching the game, I said this would be a wonderful time for cell phones not to exist, for us to just have the phone on the wall back, 20 years ago or whatever. It would ring, and I'd be like, don't answer that. Just let it ring,
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to next year when the Bombers prevent Saskatchewan from being into the Grey Cup again, and then win or lose, 5 straight Grey Cups. Can't be upset about that.
Wow, Rory's not making any friends today, fellas and ladies. Nugsy, did you watch the game at all?
No, I found out on social media that it happened after, and I was like, oh, I guess the Argos won. And that's good. And I went to 2 Argos games in my life. None of them at BMO Field. They were both at the Sky Dome.
Yeah.
But the one story I'll say from watching the Argos is that my dad won his first ever cell phone and got it for free at an Argos Alouettes game at the Sky Dome.
Really?
So there you go. Yeah.
That's a cool story. Got to admit.
It's a decent story.
But you and I had a shared experience over the weekend, Nugsy. Do you want to talk about the big spectacle that we both saw over the weekend?
Well, yeah. I mean, full disclosure. I saw that Clark had gone with his daughters on Friday to Disney on Ice at the Brent Center in Regina, and I was like, that looks like a great time. And it was Abby's birthday, my now 3-year-old, on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's go on Sunday. And so we went on Sunday too, and what a time. And yeah, Clark and I both teared up a little bit at the Moana part of the show, but it was a great spectacle. And if you ever get an opportunity to go to Disney on Ice, fellas, again, too, Clark,
I would go again.
We'd go again. It was awesome.
Who were your daughters, or what was your daughter's favorite character?
Oh, that's really good question. I mean, obviously, like every little girl, it seems like these days, the girls are all about the Frozen.
Okay.
And so Elsa.
Elsa, yeah.
I was thinking about Hamilton.
Come on, Nugsy.
Elsa. When Elsa comes out, all the girls are like, it's Elsa. And then Abby is a big Tinkerbell fan.
Oh, yeah.
So
Tinkerbell made an appearance at the end.
And Abby, just under her breath, was like, hi, Tinkerbell.
Solid choices.
Tinkerbell flew out at the end and
Good
threw some
question.
glitter around. So, yes, they loved it. Everybody loved it. My kids was dressed as Anna from Frozen. So she was pumped when all the Frozen people came out. But also Encanto. If you haven't seen Encanto, folks, it is a wild ride.
Maybe in rapid fire we will find out who Finley Radloff's favorite Disney character is.
Now we're talking.
So.
Yeah. And he'll probably say, like, Lightning McQueen. That's my early bet.
Yeah.
Lightning McQueen.
It's a good
kind of in his age range.
I mean, Disney Pixar.
My issue with the cars.
Lightning McQueen was part of Disney on Ice.
Yeah,
he was
very
there.
strange.
He was
But
there.
that was like these weird car things that came out, which was kind of neat. But like I liked the athleticism of the skaters. That was just some weird thing.
Opening segment has got off the rails.
Off the rails.
So that was the most important thing that happened. No, I'm kidding.
All right, see you later, folks.
That's
Disney on Ice Weekly.
There was a whole bundle of games over the weekend in the SJHL, so we should probably get into that now. Before we get started with that, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, please make sure you do all of the engagements. That's like, that's comment, that's hit share, subscribe, hit follow. Make sure you do all the things. It helps us out a ton, more than you would know. If you hit the share button on Facebook specifically, it helps us out a ton. So do that, please, if you don't mind. But let's have a look at Friday's scores now. A couple of big numbers on this one, and we'll get to that. But Humboldt took care of Melville 3-1 at the Elgar Peterson Arena. Battlefords had a big weekend in Weyburn, winning their first one on Friday 4-3. Flin Flon got a win over Kindersley, which was a big one, and we'll talk about that later as well. 3-1. Ronge had their way with Estevan, 10-1 on Friday night, and again, we'll talk about that too. Melfort beat Nipawin 4-3, but it was a great game. That was actually in overtime, and that was a really great game. Nipawin got a point out of that one. Let's go to Saturday now, because on Saturday, a lot of these storylines kind of carried over, and Nipawin carried their effort over and got a 1-0 shutout victory over the Humboldt Broncos, again in Humboldt. Battlefords got another 4-3 win against Weyburn. Flin Flon got another win against Kindersley, a 4-3 overtime win. Larange handled Estevan again 4-1, so they scored 14 goals in 2 games over Estevan. And Melfort got a 2-1 win. Notre Dame got into the action on the weekend in that one. So 10 games over the weekend, guys. A lot of storylines coming out of it, but let's have a look at our first one, which with our headlines for the week, and it is learning to fly. Let's start with the Nipawin Hawks, getting 3 out of 4 points over the weekend. It seems like maybe they're coming together. That young group that we've been talking about all year, finally starting to get some great efforts. And Rory, we'll start with you because they got a 1-0 win over Humboldt on the weekend.
Yeah, you saw a save there for Gage Roberts, who was the staple in that victory over the Humboldt Broncos, making 30-plus saves. And some really key ones as well. 2-on-1 rushes about 3 or 4 times in that game. Roberts, just wasn't, Broncos couldn't break through him. But for the Nipawin Hawks, we want to focus this segment on is, they're learning. It's a young team with only 2 20-year-olds. Not a ton of SJHL experience either from their non-20-year-olds, which is the biggest thing, is it takes time to play in this league. So right now, when you look at the Nipawin Hawks, I think that you just throw out September and October, because that's a young team in their first 10, 12 games that's still trying to figure out ways to learn systems and playing in a grown-up adult physical hockey league. So let's look at what they've done in only November. It's been 3 games. They were in a 2-2 tie with Flin Flon, who's absolutely surging right now, late in the second period. Obviously, Flin Flon's experience took over, but the shots were very even in that game, and Nipawin was skating with them for 2 periods. Then they took the defending champions to a shootout, trailed 2-0, came back, led 3-2, and were 47 seconds away from beating Melfort in Melfort, and then they beat the Broncos in a 1-0 hard-nosed fought victory. So last 3 games, I like that sample size. I know it's 3 out of 6 points, but it's a young team that's learning, and that's why I think, can they build off this? Because it looks like they're getting something now.
2 points for me for the Nipawin Hawks. The first one is, and again, I don't know if Tyson Endall's out there watching. Love him dearly. Hope he's doing great. But now they're getting stops.
Yep.
And that's a big thing when your team believes in your goaltender. That changes everything. And yes, Gage Roberts and Nathan Clayton are 2 young goalies, but they've been wonderful for the Nipawin Hawks. So when you start out, you believe in your goalie, you're not down 1, 2, 3 rip quick. You really can get your blood going. And that goes into my second point, is that they've had much better starts the last little while. They're still minus 28 in first period shots on the year, but that is including those last 3 games in which they've played much better. It was 10-10 the shots in the first period in Melfort, and then 13-12 Humboldt after one at the EPA. So they got into games, get that blood flowing, get your systems going. They've remade their decor. They brought in Noah Heinrich from Fort McMurray, who I understand is dealing with a little bit of an injury, but I'm sure he'll be okay soon. Obviously, Connor Ryan from Flin Flon. They got Vito Biondo, the third back, not too long ago either. So they've remade their decor, but I don't think the Hawks have actually played that badly this year. Just haven't gotten the bounces, haven't gotten good starts, and that's not a good recipe for success for a young hockey team that, let's be honest, isn't stacked top to bottom with offensive weapons, but they're good kids. They're playing hard. They play the right way. Tad Cozen knows how to get kids to play the right way, and they're starting to get rewarded for all that hard work. But I said in my Players of the Week column, I said, you look at a weekend where you have in Melfort and Humboldt for a young team, albeit rivalry weekend, of course, and you say, hey, that looks like lemons, but they certainly made lemonade out of it. 3 out of 4 possible points for the Hawks on a tough road trip, so good for them.
Yeah, and like you said, I think Nipawin might lead the league in first goals. You know what I mean? First SJHL career goals, because they're so young. We saw a couple more in the last couple of week or so. So these guys are still coming into it. Like Rory said, give these guys time, and it takes time to adjust. And they have made some additions recently. And we're going to talk to Finley Radloff a little later on in the show from the Nipawin Hawks to kind of gauge what he thinks about how everything's going on. Janelle's checking in. She's saying hi.
I wonder if that's for the Disney on Ice talk.
Hope so.
I just logged in time for all of this, and I'm so here for it. Oh, it might have been. It was 4 minutes ago, but I think that was during when we were talking about it. She might have mentioned it. So yeah, Janelle's probably pumped about the Disney on Ice talk for sure. But let's move on to our second headline now, if we can bring the headlines back up. And of course, it's bear hunting season, and that's up in La Ronge. As again, La Ronge outscored Estevan in 2 games, 14-2 over the weekend, guys. It was not a great weekend for the Bruins, but at the same point, maybe let's look at it as a great weekend for La Ronge. What are we thinking about it, Nugsy?
Yeah, a bit of column A, a bit of column B. The scoring chances over the 2 games were heavily in favor of La Ronge, and in fact, it was worse in terms of scoring chance difference in the game that they only lost 4-1, the Bruins, as opposed to the 10-1. Now look, we sit here and old men grumble and say, oh no, kids these days have their excuses and yada, yada, yada. But in my opinion, Kyle Kelsey was the best goaltender in the SJHL for a while there. And then the gut punch it is to lose him.
Yeah.
You know what? You could say, oh, excuses. Oh, Kent Moores is hurt. Luke Hogan is hurt. It's just a tough time for the Estevan Bruins. It's a tough road trip going up to La Ronge. Obviously, the Ice Wolves are playing well. So, I'll let Rory talk maybe a little bit about what the Ice Wolves are doing well. Yeah, I just have a little bit of sympathy for the Bruins, that's all. And I'm not here to hammer them. It's a tough road trip, and that's all they can say.
Before Rory, you jump in really quick. Nugsy, I know that Jason Tatarnik's not going to sit here and tell anyone that those excuses that you mentioned, no coach makes excuses. But those are pretty good reasons and indicators as to what's going on. I mean, Kent Moores is one of their biggest producing forwards. Luke Hogan's been hot in the last 10 or 11 games. And Kyle Kelsey, like you said, was a leader and a great goaltender in his own right. So to not have those 3 is a big reason. But Rory.
And just one, with like a Flin Flon Bombers team, were they playing great with all their injuries? No, but yes, they had a much deeper roster. So they were still sort of treading water. Now they're all healthy. We'll talk about the Bombers in a minute. But again, the Estevan Bruins have a lot of young players sort of down their forward core. So to lose those 2 guys is a big hit.
Yeah, and for the La Ronge Ice Wolves side, it's just they're a deeper team than really anyone gives them credit for, of guys who know how to play the SJHL style. What we talked about at Nipawin, you got to learn how to play the SJHL style. Well, that's why Cole Thomas and Zane Normand and all these guys, maybe not their star-studded 2 like Buchert and Cassette, but they know this game. And that's why they're playing so well. And you're like, wow, Cole Thomas is very, very, effective. And Zane Normand's having a heck of a season. Well, it's because they're a year older, they're a year more experienced, and it provides depth for a La Ronge Ice Wolves team. Speaking of Mason Buchert, though, obviously he went on a stretch throughout basically October where he had 3 points in 10 games. La Ronge was 3-7 in that span. He now has 15 points in his last 8 games, and they're 6-2 in that stretch. Mason Buchert needed to find a little bit more to his game. He was in a little bit of a slump, never concerning, even though he's on my fantasy team. I was never concerned, just keep swimming. Yeah. And now he is, with 15 in his last 8, they're 6-2. They're amazing in the face-off circle, which I know you love because, everyone loves it, because you're starting each play with the puck. Or at least 60 to 70% of the plays. You're not chasing the play. Yeah. And then, that pretty much is a wash. Obviously, icing offside goes to a whistle, and then you're chasing that play. You're never dictating the way you want it to go when you're not winning faceoffs. And La Ronge winning faceoffs. They played in the most 1-goal games, so it's a tight-knit, deep group that just knows how to find victories in those 1-goal games. I like a lot about La Ronge, but I always have all year.
Yeah. Goaltending. 2 big wins again from Graham Brown. Really like the way he's played this year. I think he's been great. Little guy, but he stops pucks. I don't care how big you are if you stop pucks. Second thing is, there aren't too many teams that are as committed to blocking shots as La Ronge. Obviously, I called them in Wilcox, and that's not an easy place to block shots. Obviously, it's so big and so wide. They were still in the lanes. They were blocking everything that Notre Dame was throwing to the net. And the third thing is, you mentioned Mason Buchert really come alive. You mentioned all those stats. Throw that. We say, who's going to score goals? Who's going to put the puck in the net on this La Ronge team? The first name has to be Mason Buchert. He had 2 goals for a long time, really. Now he's got 7 goals in his last 9 games.
Right.
So he's on fire.
He's on fire. And, I'm going to spoil it here, guys. honorable mention to Graham Brown. He did not win a weekly award this week, but he had a fantastic week, and he was like in our conversations for more than one award. So apologies to Graham Brown. Ronge, you won't be disappointed. That's another spoiler alert. But let's move on to our next. Or you got anything else?
I just wanted to shout out because we forgot Connor Frost as well. That acquisition for Ronge Ice Wolves. 3 games played with Weyburn. Bagels goes to Ronge. 5 points in 5 games. It's just another addition. We talked about the forwards being, deep and balanced and respectable and hardworking. Connor Frost just, you plug in a top D like that, it just makes everything look a little more solid.
You throw in the acquisition of Dimitri Toporowski too.
Yeah, a couple of tinkers for Kevin Kaminsky, and it's paid off so far. Let's now go to maybe the biggest headline from the weekend, and that's fire extinguisher. The Battlefords North Stars went into Weyburn and extinguished the streak. The streak is over. The 14-game point streak for Weyburn is done because Battlefords went in there and handled them 2 games in a row, 4-3 and 4-3. Guys, unbelievable performance by Justin Merrick this weekend, but 2 huge wins, I would say. I don't think that I'm going lightly on that. 2 huge wins from Battlefords on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know what? I don't think Cody Mapes is going to freak out about this either. Obviously, you don't like losing, but, Jacob Faith and I actually spoke to Daza Mitchell walking out of the rink there on Friday, and again, he's competitive. The Red Wings are competitive, but maybe the streak was becoming too much of a thing.
Sure.
They weren't playing their game as much. So I think maybe this is not a bad wake-up call. Cody Mapes can look at video and say, hey, pay attention. If we don't pay attention and buy into the things maybe that we're teaching, then we are going to lose hockey games. We aren't going to be invincible. Obviously, you mentioned 14 games unbeaten, only 1 loss. That was an overtime loss way back in the Elgar Peterson Arena in Humboldt. So 13 wins and 1 overtime loss is a really good streak, and there's no concern whatsoever for me with the Weyburn Red Wings about this. The high scoring chances, 39-33 for Weyburn over the 2 games. Yes, they missed the net a lot. I think probably Cody Mapes will look back at the video and be shaking his head and wondering what's going on because they missed the net 32 times over the 2 games the Weyburn Red Wings did.
High danger scoring chances were 39-32.
39-33.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
in 2 games.
There was a lot of chances, a lot of good scoring chances, for 2 games. But Cypress Smith-Davis is back. He's been really good. He's been bagging goals, and he's got goals in 4 of his last 5. I think he's such an important player for Weyburn to get into the blue paint because you think about like a Jerome Maharaj and Ethan DK and Jackson Ruthven. These guys can make things happen kind of around the perimeter, and then you need that guy who's in the blue paint who's not afraid to get his face mashed in, and Cypress is doing that really well, and obviously he's a good buddy of mine, so I'm happy to talk about him. But on the other side, obviously Rory, we talked about the Battlefords North Stars a bunch this year. They just play the right way top to bottom.
Yeah, you got to give props to Martin Smith and Owen Lamb there because this North Stars team, when you look at it, they're an overperforming team. And I don't mean that in any negative way. That is a positive way because there isn't really anyone on the North Stars right now that I would consider as underperforming. Like a guy where you just, man, I wish I could get a little bit more out of this guy. There's no one on the team that I have in that regard right now because everyone's playing above their level. Everyone's playing, elevated their games and playing good hockey in order to get these wins against good hockey teams. So I've just been really impressed. I've really impressed. Like Rylan Williams, we know would be good, but did we know that Braden Nienaber would lead the team in goals, right? We knew that Nikita Ivashenko, who had pro hockey experience, would be good. But did we know that Gavin Granger would be this good, right? It's just there's so many guys like that are, wow, like he put in the work in the offseason and he's doing amazing. So props to them for doing that. And then just a couple notes for you because if I said these 3 stats, which team would you think of? Highest scoring team in the league, undefeated in regulation when scoring the first goal, undefeated in regulation when leading after the first. Is that not Battlefords?
Well, it is, I guess. Yeah.
It's been them for 4 years. Nothing's changed this year.
Yeah.
They lose Kean Bell. They lose these top scorers. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, but people said, what do you think of this Battlefords team? And I said, I do think they miss Kean Bell because they make all these chances, and then who's putting them in the back of the net? Yes, the pucks went in this weekend for sure, and I do wonder if Wiley Riendeau is going to be hard at work. He always is, trying to see if they can add a piece or 2 just for that pure shooting. But just talking about the leadership core, I mean, you talk to a guy like Marty Smith, he's such a genuine dude. You don't question, I'm sure, if you're a Battlefords North Star, whether that guy cares about you, and you want to go through a brick wall for him. Same thing with Braden Klamosko the year before as well, obviously, but even more than Marty, and I'm sure Marty would be okay with me saying this, the leadership group, Jackson Allen and Josh Grill and all those guys have just done a terrific job keeping this whole team with their heads on straight. And Rory, the last thing I'll say is, you mentioned, none of these guys are underachieving. Every one of them is either doing what their job is or more. what more do you ask for from a hockey team? Really? Like, you can't. You literally cannot. You can try to change the roster, but other than that, like, that's all you can ask for.
Do your best. Try your hardest.
Yeah, right. Go out. Battlefords fans, get behind this team, because we talked to Jackson Allen. Getting through the whole coaching thing, start of the year, we said, all of us, I think, that this would make this team tougher to beat and more tight and better down the line. Well, we're starting to see it.
That headline also did give me a little bit of anxiety because I've had an experience calling a hockey game with a fire extinguisher, and don't use them. Well, I mean, I think you're supposed to use them.
Like, was it plugged into your computer or what?
What if the fire extinguisher?
You said call the game with a fire extinguisher.
Was the microphone attached to the fire extinguisher and you accidentally set it off?
No, it wouldn't work.
That wouldn't work. No, in Estevan, in my first year, there was like a chipped piece of ice in the slot.
Oh, yeah.
And then they tried to pack it in water, and then I guess they brought out a fire extinguisher to like flash freeze it.
Yeah.
But they brought out either like an expired one or the wrong one, and it actually melted the ice.
Yeah.
So then the hole was huge. There was an hour and a half delay. So
I remember hearing about that.
I was just filling content on air for an hour and a half. So
I remember hearing about that.
In my first year in the playoffs. I think it was in the playoffs.
Yeah, I want to say it was a playoff game.
Playoffs,
yeah. Quick note to our producer Ryan in the back. Can you flip live on Twitter? Thank you. I know he'll know what I mean. Let's move on, because I think the next headline kind of encompasses everything we just talked about, and that is seasonal congestion. I know Ryan's clicking around. So seasonal congestion. And no, we're not talking about Nugsie's allergies.
Those are our problems.
We are talking about the standings. And right now, I got a text from our good buddy Jeremy Corrigan this morning. And he said, holy, can we bring up the standings? He said, holy, look at the standings in the SJHL right now. 7 points between first and ninth.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, Jeremy, it's that kind of year. Like, it's wild. The amount of movement that we've had over the weekend, and we have to remember, Weyburn was in first. They're now not. Melfort's in first. Battlefords was like in fifth or sixth or something like that before the weekend. They're now in third. Ronge was in like ninth 2 weeks ago. They're in fifth. Melville was in third 2 weeks ago. They're in seventh. Flin Flon was in ninth at the beginning of the week. They're in eighth now. Kindersley is now in ninth.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time with how much one weekend can matter if you win both games. Well, we're looking at Battlefords right now. We're looking at Ronge right now, and we're looking at Melfort? They win both their games?
Yep. Yeah,
so like, games. Right, exactly. So I mean, and Melville, on the opposite scale, they've been losing a couple games in a row, and Flin Flon has won a couple, so they've moved up. So again, guys, it's just the congestion of the SJHL standings right now.
It's crazy.
And I mean, there's a lot of storylines you can take from that, but what are you guys taking from it?
The craziest thing is Humboldt won one of the games on the weekend. They got 2 out of 4 points. They fell from 4th to 6th.
Yeah,
right.
It's not good enough.
If you do not get back-to-back wins, you are not moving up.
Yeah.
Ever. And it's wild. Two things I take away from this is what is going to start separating teams, because we know there's no dominant, right? No dominant team this year. But is there going to be some teams that can be good more consistently? Like, who's going to limit their rough games where it's like, ooh, we had a rough game, to maybe 4 or 5 times the rest of the season? Right? So 5% of the time, rough game. That's what's going to be able to win back-to-back weekends, to separate yourself, have a little bit of security above that playoff line. Stringing together A performances is what I haven't seen a lot of teams do. It's 2 good games and it's 1 bad game, and it's another bad game and it's 3 good games. There's only 3 teams that don't have a 3-game winning streak, and there's only 3 teams that don't have a 3-game losing streak. Yeah. It's kind of the 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step back, 2 step forward. Like, it's weird. So I want to see a team kind of go out there and separate themselves, because no one has. I know Weyburn had 14-game point streak, but consider that 14-game point streak. They're not first place in the league.
Yeah.
Right? It's how their start was only 0-4, but it's how hard it is to move.
Yeah. Well, my first thought, actually, like, we sit here and talk about the parity of the rosters in this league, and I think that's totally true. But I also think about the parity of coaches in this league. Yep. I think top to bottom, like, every team has a great coach. And I think part of the reason why teams are having a hard time stringing wins together is because these coaches are getting on the video, they're making the adjustments, and they're able to implement those adjustments. And we talk about trying to develop players and move them on in this league, and I hope that is the #1 priority of most people around, is to get kids on to the next level. But if you're watching, maybe you're a college or a higher level team, like, seriously consider the coaches in our league too, because all of them have shown a great ability to adjust when they've needed to. And, even the teams that are not in the playoffs, like you think about like Tad Cozen, you think about Clayton Jardine. I don't know how long that'll last with Kindersley not in the playoffs, but right now they're not. And even Brett Pilkington, who I get to be around all the time, and what a treat that is. Like, he's an amazing coach. Just 1 to 12 great coaches in this league, and I think that says a lot about it too.
Yeah. So we suck. Do we have that standings? Can we go back to it one more time if it's available? No problem if it's not. Yeah. Thank you. We talked prior or after last week's show. What are you looking forward to? And I said the Estevan Bruins have a really big weekend coming up, because if they don't pick up some points, playoffs are going to be, far away, especially since they're going up against Ronge, who was also flirting with that playoff line, right? They lost all 3 games. They lost to Melfort and lost 2 in Ronge. 8 points away now is the playoff line for the Estevan Bruins. We saw how hard it was for Weyburn to move when winning 14 straight games. That's a big gap now. And my second point about this congestion is that a really, really good team is going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
That 9 spot, right? It's going to be a really good team. It's going to come down to the wire. And right now it's Kindle. But like Nuge said,
who knows?
Probably might not be. It might be, but it might not be. It could be Humboldt, Melville, Ronge, Flin Flon. Like a really good team's going to be out.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting year. Let's just bring up the division standings just to show them off. Because I do love this graphic. And
we got to shout out the sponsors.
So in the Viterra division, as you can see, Weyburn and Yorkton are 1 and 2. They're both playing great hockey in their last 10 games. That Melville past 10 games really stands out to me, guys. And then Estevan, of course, that's how they've been. They just can't quite seem to get past that hump. They do have a ton of games in hand still on most teams in the league, though. Melfort, it was really hot, 8 and 2 in their last 10. Ronge playing really nice hockey right now, 6 and 4. Flin Flon is trying to find that consistency. They're 5 and 5 right now, 500 in their last 10. So they got to figure some stuff out. But they are trending in the right way. And we'll talk about Flin Flon actually right away here. And then Nipawin, of course, down at the bottom there, just 8 points. But again, they may be figuring something out too. So give them a couple weeks. We'll see where they're at. Battlefords is just playing that clean, smart hockey that you guys talked about. 6-2, 1 and 1 in their last 10. Humboldt they're not giving up by any stretch. They're 6 and 4. They're doing fine. And again, is that games played correct, Rory? They have played more than 15 games, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's okay.
We're up to 19, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say. And then Kindersley, of course, they're trying to hang on as well. And then Notre Dame down there at the bottom, too.
I just want to mention for Kindersley, again, we get messages sometimes. Most of it's very positive, absolutely, and we appreciate that. We appreciate all messages, positive or negative. That's totally fine. We're here to drive discussion. But I don't want it to sound like we're hammering teams. But the Kindersley Clippers, let's look at their schedule the last little while. Yorkton, Weyburn, Humboldt, Flin Flon.
That's tough.
Yes, it was at home.
All at home, though, yeah.
But Yorkton, Weyburn, Humboldt, Flin Flon. Don't panic, don't worry, Kindersley fans. That is brutal. I don't care if you're at home. That's brutal.
It's crazy because some years you look, it's like, ooh, they kind of got a little bit of a relaxed couple weeks coming up here in the schedule. I look at that for teams and I'm like, what team is now relaxed this year, right? Notre Dame just had a 2-1 game against Melfort. Nipawin just beat Humboldt. Estevan, yes, they struggled in Ronge, but they got wins over tough teams as well. Yeah. I don't know if there is a relaxed time. No. So you could be looking in January. It's like, wow, now Kindersley has Melfort, Humboldt, Estevan. That could look just as daunting as what this looks right now. It's just how seasonal congestion.
Well, right.
It's crazy.
To your point there, we were like, oh, what's going on in Flin Flon? There's a worry, blah, blah, blah. They're out of the playoff picture, blah, blah. Obviously, they brought all these guys back from health. Keith Gruner is on their quote-unquote third line. He's one of the best players in the league, and he's on the quote-unquote third line. So, yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. But I guess you guys kind of touched on it. That was kind of our odds and ends. You talked about Flin Flon and Kindersley, and I think we wanted to talk about those two teams. So let's move on now. I think we're good. I think the headlines are handled. We've covered most, if not all of it. Let's have a look now. We talked about the Nipawin Hawks a little bit. Let's have a look at the highlight of the week, and this comes courtesy of Aiden Bruce, and I believe this was his first SJHL goal, and it was a beauty. So let's have a look now.
SAS Tourism.
Yes, Tourism Saskatchewan, of course. Now, we can talk over this. I think our mics are still hot.
Yeah.
As you can see, he steals the puck just inside the blue line, beats his man to the net, beats the goalie short side, and a nice little celly there to clean it all up. And great first goal there by Aiden Bruce. And I think if you look at some of his under-18 stats, this guy could become a really big player for the Nipawin Hawks guys, Aiden Bruce.
Got all the stats in the world. He led AAA league in BC in goals and in points.
Yep.
First place in both. So he comes in with a lot of the tools, but as I said, when we talk about Nipawin, as I said, when we talk about Ronge, you got to learn how to play the SJHL way.
Yeah.
It's a different league. And Aiden Bruce, a great pickup by Nipawin because he's an 06, he's still a young kid that has all these intangibles offensively and having a tough time cracking the Humboldt Broncos roster. He's going to get all the opportunity in Nipawin. He's on the first line, he's on the first power play, and we'll see if he can just, acclimate the game to the SJHL way.
And center lane drive sprint to the blue by Jack Jansen. Is he having an incredible, offensive year numbers-wise? Not yet. Might get there. He's a young guy. But I love that play by him right there. Sprint to the blue. Occupy a couple D-man. Give your teammates some space. Don't just watch and wait and have your stick out there waiting for, a pass to the tape. Go hard to the blue. Open up some space. And that also helped Aiden Bruce score that goal.
And this has been Coach's Corner with Nugsy. He's got to get the Don Cherry.
And that's what I think about that.
He already has his own bumper.
He's a good Canadian kid.
He is a good Canadian kid.
He already has his own bumper. Speaking of the bumper, why don't we go to that now? It's time for Nugs and Notes.
There you go. I don't know if the gap in my teeth is really that big.
It's a caricature.
Yeah,
Caricatures are always over-exaggerated.
I'm not offended by it. I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
I guess so.
You're okay.
Okay. Just quick Nugs and Notes here. Not take too much time. Movember update. Quickly, let's get into it. Love the Movember. The league is doing amazing. Look at that. Over almost $14,000 raised for men's health, boys. That is unreal. Doesn't hurt that Notre Dame Hounds are in first place. So pretty happy about that. I made sure that one guy in particular whose family has done a lot for that, and a lot of Hounds guys have, but that one guy I made sure he got a good pair of Movember socks, and good to see the Bronx up there too. Obviously, the Broncos Nation can rally really well, but I saw Emery Lawson post, and the amount that Yorkton fans are able to give, and the propensity to do that is huge. So I know that just because it says that now, that doesn't mean the bottom cannot become the top real quick. So let's go over 20K, folks. I think that'd be pretty unreal.
Okay, if I can cut you off really quick, and we can, bring it, just so everyone's aware, that $10 for Yorkton was for me.
I know, but that's going to change.
And I called them out last week, and I wanted them to be on the leaderboard with $10 rather than not on the leaderboard at all. But I'm hoping that this causes them to be like, oh, shoot, we got to pick up our socks.
You're going back-to-back against them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm calling them out again. Now, I'll say this. The Flin Flon Bombers called them out. They're up over $100. Kindersley Clippers called them out. They're up over $100. So I guess we're just waiting on Yorkton. Yeah. Yorkton, come on.
But I'm proud of Rory and my team.
Yes, you guys are doing great. Everybody's doing great. I'm not saying anybody's doing bad. I'm just saying I think we have about a half a month now.
We're first place. We're first place.
We got 2 weeks.
All right, let's keep moving with Nugs and Notes. No problem. I got to shout out Jacob Leege, who was on the Notre Dame Hounds a couple of years ago, having a great year in the Chippewa Steel in the North American Hockey League. He is committed to the Army Division I NCAA team at West Point Academy. Anybody that knows Jacob knows that he was built for the Army, just does absolutely everything right. Incredible shape, incredible young man, incredible family. His family still watches Junior Hounds games and tells me about it. And his grandfather, Frank, is an absolute beauty and always mentions me. So appreciate it and love the Leege family. Really happy for Jacob. He's a great player. And also, speaking of a couple Notre Dame Hounds, Mercyhurst just played Air Force D1 this past weekend. And so I got a great picture of Jared Sitch and Will Dawson, former Junior Hounds, against each other, and Rory was laughing because I was telling them about what my Nugs and Notes topics were, and he's like, "You got to mention Jared Sitch," and I was like, "Yes, well, it's been a while, and my quota was bleeding there a little bit." So there you go.
Yes.
Love it. And then the last point is that the this month's edition of the Golden Sheaf, Cantera Seeds Golden Sheaf, article is going to come out on Wednesday with the Melfort Mustangs, Austin Shepard of Kerrobert, Saskatchewan, and I told Nick Nielsen, the former Weyburn Red Wings broadcaster, current Prince Albert Raiders broadcaster, about it, and he said he gave me a little story about how either Austin's dad or uncle once jumped off a moving truck to jump on the back of a deer one time in a field, he said. And I said, well, that sounds crazy, but I guess it explains how Austin Shepard plays, because that kid plays 150% every single shift.
Yeah.
So there you go. Very excited. I really like talking to him. What a nice kid. And boy, is he a pain in the derriere for other teams.
I was going to say, I saw him in the playoffs last year. I didn't see him jump on any deer on the
ice. But he would jump on you.
He would. Yeah, he jumped on a couple forechecks, I'll say that.
It is also the day after Nugesy's birthday, so I'm actually surprised the show wasn't rebranded an afternoon in Notre Dame. So one Jared Six shout out, which we haven't had this season yet. We had about 72 of them when he was playing every show, but it's very much acceptable.
For a good reason. He was super good.
He was a good player. It's very much acceptable. It's the day after your birthday, so.
Yes, and we will be having Nugesy's birthday wishes in the third segment.
That's true.
So,
it's a good segment.
Someone bring out a cake.
I'm excited. Me and Rory are both excited. It's going to be fun. One more quick shout out to Tourism Saskatchewan for Highlight of the Week. Shout out to Chevrolet for all of our highlight packages on YouTube. But we got to hit a break now, and when we come back from our break, we're going to be joined by Nipawin Hawks captain Finley Radloff, so stay tuned.
Your new truck trade-up has arrived at Capital GMC. Volume pricing is back. As inventory levels go up, prices come way down. And right now, we have over 250 brand new GMC Sierras to choose from. Lease a Crew Cab 4x4 Pro Edition for only $269 bi-weekly plus tax with $0 down. Or work with our finance experts to get the best available rates. Plus, GM certified pre-owned inventory is back too. Shop over 150 vehicles, all makes, all models. It's finally time for your new truck trade-up, only at Capital GMC.
Each year, the SCSA issues over 10,000 training certificates to the construction professionals who build our province. That's the population of Martinsville. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
Saskatchewan's far north is where the land itself inspires. It's the beauty and power of wilderness, the solitude of a place far removed from what you might know. When this landscape surrounds you, it's like nothing else. Come and let it awaken you, energize you. Come and create your story in our Northern Lights and Waterways. Saskatchewan.
In a year where Amazon sold its first book, Alanis topped the charts, and the Frappuccino became cool, we were there. Trusted by the Saskatchewan construction industry since 1995. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
As a student, things can pile up fast. Ouch. But the RBC Student Banking Bundle makes back to school easier with up to $275 in value. That's a whole pile of takeout.
Introducing SaskTel Student Saving Tips. Tip number 138. You could build your own pallet furniture.
So you're living on your own. You gotta save money by building furniture with pallets.
Or get Infinite 150 for only $50 a month with SaskTel Student Deals.
Increase your home comfort with high-efficiency natural gas equipment. Sask Energy offers rebates so you can lower your energy use and save money. For a list of rebates, contact a participating network member or visit saskenergy.com.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
All right, we're going to be, welcome back to the show, first of all. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I missed the opening statement. Welcome back to the show. Clark here with Rory and Nugsy. And we're going to jump out right now to the video chat line and be joined by captain of the Nipawin Hawks, Finley Radloff. Finley, welcome to the show and thanks for joining us today.
Hi guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, we're doing great. How are you doing down in Nipawin, or up in Nipawin, I guess?
We're doing pretty good here.
Good, yeah. So obviously, let's start with this weekend. The Hawks getting a big 3 out of 4 points over the weekend. A couple of great games from you guys. Must feel pretty good. Can you walk us through the two games on the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big relief getting those 2 games on the weekend. It was big 3 points for us. I mean, Melfort's an unreal team, so to be able to get to shoot out with them is pretty good for the team, and I think we really deserve that. And then going back to Humboldt, there we had a pretty hard game there, and we were able to stick it to them and get the win.
So obviously, just looking back at the start of this season for you guys, it's been a bit of a rough start. But as a 19-year-old hometown boy captain, it must still be a pretty cool experience for you this season so far, Finley.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, just playing as it's not as a leader, but still being a leader the past 2 years, and then it's an honor getting the captain this year, and being able to play in my hometown and live at home with my family here, which is nice.
Hey, Finley, I got a lot of questions, Nipawin Hawks this season, kind of from start to where you guys are now, but I want to bring it back to even your start in the SJHL, because in the first segment, I was talking about the Nipawin Hawks. I said, there's just not a lot of SJHL experience, and it's a different league. You got to learn how to play in this league to be productive. How did you find it jumping up to the SJHL just in your first, month and a half, navigating the SJHL until you were like, all right, this is what you got to do?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did take me a while. I think it was 8 or 9 games. It took me to get my first goal. I guess Nugsy was there. I think he called it for me. Yeah, it was fun though. Like, it was a really good first month, being able to learn with those the older guys, and yeah.
Is that kind of something that you can rely on when you're teaching some of these young players, Will Witter, Jack Jansen, Connor Watson? Trying to navigate through a tough start, but something that you can lean back on and be like, hey guys, we're going to get this.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just refer back to myself. I mean, these guys aren't, like, you're not going to put up that many points as your first year as an underager like Will. And then he's doing that right now. So I can't really, not a whole lot I can teach him, but, I mean, I guess he's a little bit better than me when I was underager.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I want to ask you too, Finn, like, I know you kind of grew up watching like some really great Ronge Ice Wolves teams. We kind of talked about this. People can go back and watch read Saskatchewan's finest, pardon me, on Findley Radloff earlier this year. So there's some interesting tidbits in there. I hope, anyways, that it's interesting. But no, I guess just talk about. I hope so. Just talk about wearing that jersey, Finley, because I know you went to games a lot as an younger guy. SJ games, whether it was Nipawin or Ronge, and those teams were great whenever you were in those towns. So just talk about the maybe, do you feel tingles? Do you feel amazing, or it's just normal to you to wear that black jersey every time you go out now?
No, I mean, it was always a dream for me to play in the SJ. I mean, growing up around in Ronge, I think we had like 11 billets or something. So I was always there at the games, and then moving to Nipawin, I didn't really watch as many games just because I was a little new to it. And then kind of growing up into like Bantam and Pee Wee, I was watching way more games, going to the games and stuff. And I mean, wearing that Hawks logo in just playing in Nipawin, not even as a Hawk. Yeah, it's awesome. I cherish every moment that I get to wear it, every game.
So Finn, last season, 23 goals, a really great season from you. What was your approach over the summer coming into the season? I mean, I don't know when you found out that you're going to be the captain of the team, but how did you approach this season after your successful season last year, individually at least?
I guess just trying to do the same thing as last year. Can't really change up too much. Having a great year last year, I got to know that it can't happen every single year, and I just got to do what I can to help the team out. And I guess it can still come, but yeah, got lots of time.
So where do you guys feel that the Nipawin Hawks are right now at this moment into where you want the game to be? Because you said tough game against Melfort. I watched you guys against, on Saturday, called the game in Humboldt. It looks like you guys are close to where you want to be especially just from the last 2 or 3 games?
Yeah, we had a really hard week of practice. We had a nice break before these past 2 games, so that really helped us out. And then just really tight team. Like everybody gets along, and I think we all got our heads in the same spot. We all know what we need to do to get these wins, and I think we can start stringing some together.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to ask you, too, about your relationship with Tad Kozin. He gave you the C. He was a great hockey, played in the league. He was a skilled guy. He put up lots of points and went and played college hockey and pro hockey. Is there anything that he's kind of taught you about generating offense, getting points that kind of sticks with you? That's something that maybe he's been able to pass on to you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you watch him in practice, he loves the 5-hole. So I try to bring that into my game as much as I can. So, yeah, he teaches us every single practice. He's trying to make us better, and the little details, corner work, and then zone entries and stuff, and just anything he can really teach us, we're trying to take from that.
Finley, wish you all the best down the road, but before we let you go, it's time for Rory's Rapid Fire. Are you ready? Presented by Elbridge.
Ready as I can ever be, I guess.
He's got no choice.
You do not have an option. All right, we did a pretty basic one here. We'll start off easy, right? It's your first time on the show. Best road movie for a bus trip with the guys after a victory.
Ooh, lots of the boys like we're into TV series, so Outer Banks, like that's a big one.
Okay.
Trailer Park Boys watch lots of that, so we'll get a computer and watch that. That's a big one for sure.
I like starting series on the bus. That's something, continuation that you can do throughout the year. I like that a lot, actually. We just had our player staff shootout auction event after, obviously, your game on Saturday. Nipawin Hawks, if or when they are having it, who would you predict to win?
For us, I think we're doing it December 7th or 8th. I got Eric Hoynes.
Okay.
I think he might have won it last year. I don't know. He knows what to do.
He's pretty slick one-on-one against the goalie.
Yeah, he can finish.
It's often a dark horse that does win those events, right? Like Landon Stromey won it for us. I know Ethan Hilbig's won it for Kindersley one year. So I like the Hoynes pick.
I just want to jump in. I think I called Eric Hoynes' first goal too. I'm pretty sure. I think I might be good luck for Nipawin Hawks players. I think he had like a breakaway and scored. I got to check that though. Sorry for interrupting.
That is okay. Okay, trivia question. I always try to pepper one in there. How many goals did your head coach Tad Kozin score as a Nipawin Hawk through his career?
Ooh. Oh, I'm not even gonna be close.
If you're within 5, I'll say it's pretty impressive.
In his all his years?
Yeah. Do you want how many games he played?
Yeah, let's hear how many games.
147.
Oh, I'm gonna go with 86.
That was pretty close.
79. Pretty good guess. Yeah, 70.
That's a lot better than I thought. Wow.
79 goals. Okay, I just got 3 would you rathers for you. Would you rather play a game with dull skates, or would you rather play a game where you really, really need to pee, but you can't pee until after the game?
I think I'm gonna have to go with gonna have to pee.
You skate faster that way.
Yeah.
Finley doesn't need any help. He can fly.
Would you rather forget your pillow on the longest road trip of the season, or would you rather forget your headphones on the longest trip of the season?
Oh, pillow for sure. That's not even a question.
Yeah, the headphones, that's a killer.
And final one, would you rather have a 4-hour road trip where you are stuck cramped in the back middle seat, or would you rather wait in line at a water park for over an hour when it's plus 40 out?
I'm thinking water park.
At least there's
might be able to get a little breeze from the water.
Yeah, and at least there's resolution at the end. There's the water slide at the end, so that's good. That was Rory's Rapid Round. You absolutely crushed it, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Attaboy. So Finley, just to let you, the last one before we let you go, you got 5 games left in November. You got Battlefords, Flin Flon twice, Yorkton and Humboldt, so a tough schedule. What's the team approach going into the rest of November here?
I mean, just trying to match what we did these last 2 games against Humboldt and Melfort. So can't really change a whole lot. Just stick what we're doing, I guess, right now. If it's working for us. So I mean, keep working in practice, improving. hopefully get some more power play goals, get the power play going. PK has been really good right now, so we'll keep on working on that. And I think we'll have some success in the future if we stick to what we're doing right now.
There we go. Finley, thanks so much for joining us today. We'll let you go. Have a great rest of the season, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thanks, guys.
All right, of course, Finley Radloff, captain of the Nipawin Hawks, crushed the rapid fire.
No panic.
No panic.
No panic.
Stay calm.
Even overcoming the peanut gallery, not shutting up over
the poise and calm that came out of that interview was fantastic.
You're fine.
Great career by Tad Cozen, 79 goals. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, as Nuge said, went on NCAA, Div 1, went on pro career, ECHL. So
did quite well. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's new.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go for it.
Great mustache by Finley Radloff, too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we should have mentioned
Movember.
that.
Yeah.
We got the boys in the back.
I love this camera view. We need to do this more. You can activate it more often, guys.
No, I just had to give him props.
We need some of those lights on your...
Yeah, thank you, Bryce. We do need some LED lights in there just flashing around like a party. We need to get some stuff. We do have LED lights in this building, so we'll have to get the Crusaders lit up back there. I'm sure Bryce will love that. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's Nugesy's birthday, so we're going to play Nugesy's birthday wishes and have some fun with that and look ahead to the rest of the week and announce players of the week. So stay tuned till after the break.
The Chevrolet Silverado 1500. Advanced power and capability to tackle the long hauls. Style to make a statement on the streets. Visit ChevroletOffers.ca to learn more.
Each year, the SCSA issues over 10,000 training certificates to the construction professionals who build our province. That is the same population as Weyburn. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
When you buy a lottery ticket in Saskatchewan, your money really goes a long way. More than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups receive funding from Sask Lotteries every year. Everyone wins.
My name is Kyle McIntyre, and I'm the commissioner of the SJHL. We have 12 teams spread out all over this amazing province. 12 teams that hit the road for combined 324 season games. We take hockey players, we make them better. We make them better at hockey and better at life. That's what the SJHL is all about. We have a great league, we have great teams, great ownership, the best fans, the best partners, and the best sponsors.
Sask Energy Network members are the best choice for natural gas solutions for your home or business. With comprehensive services like heating equipment maintenance, appliance installation, and in-store financing, they have natural gas solutions that go beyond heating to bring you the comfort, efficiency, and reliability of natural gas, both indoors and outdoors, all year long. For whole home natural gas solutions, network members burn brighter.
Introducing SaskTel Student Saving Tips. Tip number 236. You could dye your own hair. Or you could save up to $20 a month on a new wireless plan with SaskTel Student Deals.
Enjoying what's around you. That's what it's all about. Farm to table, in season, locally foraged, look out the window and that's exactly what you'll see on your plate. It's the kind of experience that you'll compare everything else to for years to come. And it's so close, you can almost taste it. Indulge in our unlimited lakes and parkland. Saskatchewan.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
Now, the power of social media, folks. We got a comment in, Ryan. I'm going to just get you to bring this up for me. Lauren Lawson commented in, and she's an avid viewer of the program. And as you guys might have heard, before we interviewed Finley Radloff, we called out a couple of teams last week and this week for the Movember campaign. And Lauren just said, we need to update the Movember standings, and then put a wink face on there. Well. We went to Movember, checked it out. The SJHL is already up almost $500, $600 more overall since we have the last graphic made.
Wonderful.
And Estevan is up over $100 now. And Yorkton got 2 donations since I called them out on this episode.
Just call them out.
So I'm telling you, okay, who else should I call out? Let's go.
Everyone's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, I know. Just everybody. Keep going. We're going well.
I was talking to Cam Kuffner and Dakota Odgers. Next year, we need to have a ref team.
Ooh, yes.
And Luke Magoo by himself would probably...
Kevin Radloff just said, Finn got the mustache because of too many pucks to the skin. He's hiding the scar. That's a captain
his
right
pops
there.
Knows.
That's a captain right there. I misspoke. We're up over 14,000 now, so that's only a couple. Can we bring up the standings from November? So we were at 13.9. So we're up $100 since the start of the episode.
Now.
So we're up over $14,000. So
wonderful.
Awesome job, Yorkton. Sorry that I called you out, but it pays off. Now, if you're watching on a laptop and you see this screen right now, there's a QR code. If you want to donate to one of the teams, you just go to that QR code. That QR code will take you to the SJHL Challenge, which all the teams are a part of. You can click on the team you want to donate to and donate from there. So make sure you guys do that. As we mentioned earlier, Notre Dame's running away with the lead right now. Humboldt's doing amazing, up over $2,000 themselves. Weyburn, Melville, Melfort down the road, and then, of course, the SJHL staff are in 6th right now, holding strong. So we're doing well overall, but keep donating to the Movember campaign. Let's get the Players of the Week done here. If you're on social media, they are out now across our social media platforms. But here we go, Players of the Week. There's the cards, there they are. The SGU MVP of the week. Now, we went with a goaltender this week because his performances were just too good against a very good team. 81 saves for Justin Merrick over 2 games, a .931 save percentage. 3 goals against in each of the 2 games. However, they were very good games for Justin Merrick, and he made a lot of big saves as well throughout those 2 games. And 2 huge wins for Battlefords. We talked about that earlier in the show. The Bourgault Forward of the Week. We're going to La Ronge. They have a few award winners this week. Cole Thomas was the Forward of the Week. 5 points in 2 games, a 4-point night on Friday against the Estevan Bruins. He has won this award earlier this year, so maybe Cole Thomas is sneaking up there. Maybe he should have been on the underrated team we talked about last week. He's having a good...
He was close to be on.
He was close.
Yeah.
We don't talk about him enough.
I was very much going to put him on.
The way he's been playing lately, he's going to force us to talk about him more and more, and so is La Ronge in general. Speaking of La Ronge, the Super U defenseman of the week is Rylan Silzer. 2 games played. He had 4 points. He's tied for the league lead in goals by a defenseman right now with 7. With, guys, another underrated player, Tyler Palin of the Yorkton Terriers. 7 goals there, too. So Rylan Silzer, a huge piece of the Ronge Ice Wolves this season, and he is proving that on a weekly basis. He probably could have won this award a couple times this season so far, and probably won't be the last time we see his name, I would guess. The SaskTel Goalie of the Week, Matthew Keeper. 2 big wins for Flin Flon this weekend over Kindersley, back-to-back. He had a .946 save percentage and a .192 goals against. So huge performance by the newcomer in Flin Flon, Matthew Keeper. And as we move along, speaking of goalies, the IKS Media or IKS Live Rookie of the Week is Gage Roberts. We talked about him earlier. A big shutout, first career shutout in the SJHL against the Humboldt Broncos. First career win. Yep. So absolutely great game for Gage Roberts this weekend. Regardless, we don't often give goalies who only play the 1 game on a week an award, but that's too big. Yep. For Rookie of the Week, you got to give it to him. And finally, the Cantera Seeds Saskatchewan Player of the Week was Mason Buchert, another Ronge Ice Wolf with an award this week. 4 points over his 2 games. Of course, he has points, as we mentioned earlier, in 8 of his last 9 games, and he's been hot lately, just in general as well. So there's the 6 award winners for this week. That's the Players of the Week. If you want to check out the full article with more information, head over to sjhl.ca and check that out. It's time for Noogsy's Wishes. So, Jamie, it was your birthday this weekend. Yay! You got some gluten-free cake in you?
Did you?
Yeah. What kind was it?
It was unbelievable. Jill made like a vanilla cake with like cream, like a whipped cream type icing with strawberries. Unbelievable.
That sounds good.
Really
Sounds
good.
fantastic. So, Nugsy, if a genie were to come down right now, and me and Rory are going to be that genie, and we said, Nugsy, you can have 3 wishes, but I think we're going to give you 4 wishes. But we can approve or decline that wish. We can either say, we'll grant you that wish, or no. What's your first wish if we were to say, Nugsy, give us a birthday wish for the SJHL?
I just want to say this wasn't my idea.
This
Before
wasn't
people
his
be like,
idea.
oh, Nugsy, what a diva. Which is true, I am a big diva, but
normally
not in this
this
situation.
would have been
This is a good segment.
It's a very good segment.
It's a good
I
segment.
appreciated it when they suggested it. I said, are you serious? And they said, yeah. So, okay, we'll move on. So right now there are 4 Division I players playing in the SJHL.
Yep.
I want more, I want more, I want more.
Of course, yeah.
So give me 5 more Division I scholarships.
Okay, 5 more Division I scholarships by the end of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a solid wish. Solid wish. You know, you blew out the candles and hoped for it. Well, you never had a friend like me, because I'll grant that one.
Love that reference.
Yeah.
And by the way, Disney on Ice, there was a really great Aladdin segment in
Was
Disney
there?
on Ice.
That's right.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear Robin Williams' voice?
Yeah.
I think if we're breaking it down, you can look, it'd be hard pressed to see Caden Jury not get one if that's what he wants, right? Darren Denwaye's worked his way into a conversation. Max Chakrabarty is in the conversation, right? Jacob Streetsy. There's 4 guys that I believe are bona fide, have potential spots somewhere there. So I'll grant it.
And the other thing now we have to remember, Rory, is we see that WHL kids can now get Div 1.
Yeah.
So we're talking Carter Anderson maybe, we're talking Dustin Renis maybe in that conversation.
Yep.
Like there's other guys now that we can add that before
Correct.
couldn't have been added.
Yeah,
So
that's a great point.
You could see, I'm going to say absolutely 5. We'll give it to you, no problem. I think
Maybe
I
we
like
get
it.
double digits in the league. That'd be awesome too.
Yeah.
Like, so 6 would have been.
Let's
even
do
better,
it.
So.
I'm in.
There you go. Well,
Double grand.
Thank you, genies. All right. Genie 1 and Genie 2. You
Yeah.
can decide which one's which. All right. Next wish. The Team Canada West World Junior A Challenge
Jeff
team.
Hammond, great point, Lauren.
Yeah, has not been Jeff Hammond. Yeah, the American kid too, so that doesn't hurt. The selection camp roster, which will be in Calgary in early December, it has not been announced of the Warman Showcase guys whom is moving on yet, so we can't disclose that. But I do want to see 4 SJHL guys out of the 22-man roster, whatever it is, at minimum, of course, on Canada West when the tournament starts in December, mid-December in Alberta.
You could go ahead.
Just for the sake of it, I'm going to grant you that wish,
2
Nugsy.
grand.
I think there was enough good performances from the showcase. Plus, Jacob Streetsy wasn't there, so he's probably going to get a look because I think they want to get a look at him. Just my guess.
Yeah.
An educated guess, maybe. But my guess is that Jacob Streetsy will get a look, and I think they're going to give him a shot. Now, of course, there comes into the conversation the 15, that's not what I'm talking about. The 05 conversation of the 05 birth years. The SJ had a lot of 05s at the showcase in Warman. So how much is that going to either hurt or benefit them come the actual team selection time? We will see, because they can only have 5 on the team at the end of the day. So that'll be interesting. But I could see a scenario where there's 4, maybe 5. But maybe I'm being optimistic. Rory, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm blowing out the candles on this one. And it's only based off of recency. So the last couple of years, we've seen 2, normally. Right? I don't know how many are going to the selection camp. I would think it could be 3. 4, I'm going to go back into the lantern and not grant this wish.
What? What? Okay.
Bryce hit an objection.
Object. Boom. Love it.
Do we have an objection?
We do have an objection. Look at it.
That's for a sort of different segment. But
That
we'll
was a
take
different segment,
But it
but-
perfectly fits here.
It's, you
Great.
know.
All right. So
We're doing that next week then.
Yeah,
So-
we're doing objection and we're doing sustained and objection.
Perfect.
next
All
week.
right. Well, there you go. I got sort of 3 granted and 1 no's so far. I'm happy about that.
Yep.
Good ratio. All right. The third wish of the 4 is there are a bunch of guys who are well over a point per game in the league right now. I want 2 100-point scorers in the SJHL this year.
Oh,
Rory, I know where you're going to go with this.
Not granted. You're only getting 1 birthday present out of me, Nugsy, so far. Caden Jury's the leading scorer, 31 points in 20 games played. He's on pace for 87 points, if my math is correct. I I know if he gets a 4-point game, now he's on pace for 95 and it's looking a little more realistic. You have to be like 1.87 points per game or 1.9.
And you have to play all 56 games.
And you have to play all 56 games. Yeah. And you want 2 players in there. Not granted. Objection.
Yeah. Now, the goalies are definitely off to a hot start. I remember our preseason conversation. Our preseason conversation was, do we think the goalies are going to be as good as they were last year? A lot of us said no. I think they definitely have been so far.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a correction of that as the season goes along? Because usually you see the goalies get better as the season goes along. Usually the start of the season is where you see maybe higher scoring games until teams kind of figure it out. So exactly, yeah. We just got Ryan in the back saying not if Matthew Keeper has anything to do with it. Like the leading points per game right now, and Lauren Lawson commented his name earlier, Jeff Hammond, but he's missed 11 games already. So even if he were to come back, you're talking about a maximum. If he comes back this weekend, you're talking about a maximum of 45 games. Even at his pace of 1.75, he's not hitting it.
You would need 2.2.
You would need two. Yeah. So if you're talking 45 games, so. It's going to be tough, but for the sake of it, I'm going to say granted. I'm going to say granted.
You're the nicest genie ever.
I am the nicest genie ever.
These are wishes.
Yeah, they're wishes. I mean, all it's going to take for Caden Drury to get on pace is like 12 points in 2 games, and then he's back on pace. So
I don't even think that. I bet like 8 points in 2 games. If you get 2 4-point games, I think he's back over the level.
So I think I'm going to say for fun, yes, we're going to get 2. And it's going to be great. I know that's going to be a stretch because how many did we have last year? None, right? Kean Bell had 96 or 7.
Yeah. We were wondering if you would get
the year before we had more than one, right?
Yeah.
We had the Battlefords guys kind of popping off.
So
I mean, I don't know. I'm going to say yes, just for the fun of it. Let's do it.
I like it.
And you had one more, I think, Nuge,
Yes, one more.
One more candle.
Again, because it's my birthday, one more Notre Dame reference. Spencer Borsos, his numbers just keep shooting up. He's just under 9 in the save percentage now. I think he's been wonderful. He grows a great mustache as well.
That matters.
He's going to jump right into being a cop if that's what he wants. Terrific young man, playing terrifically well. My hope is that by the end of 2024, he's over 910 in save percentage. Over 910. So Spencer Borsos plus 910.
Go ahead, Clark.
What's he at right now?
899. You know what? I wanted to do a little bit of math, but it's Nuge's birthday and it's a Notre Dame Hound. I'm coming back out of the lantern. You're getting granted. Yeah. Spencer Borsos, 910. The one thing that scares me is that he's faced 577 shots already, right? So the more time you play, the more shots you face, the harder it is to get that to climb. When you've already faced over,
I think he's got such a positive outlook. Like he's so balanced. If he has gives up a bad goal or a bad game, he shakes it off as well as I've ever seen anybody. Mm-hmm. So, that positivity does give you a burst of energy.
Absolutely. I'll say this. I've been very positive the first 3. I don't think Spencer Borsos is a bad goalie. I hope he does well, and I hope he gets this, but I just don't think I can.
You're not granting
I
this
don't
one?
think I can grant you this
Well,
one.
I'm granting myself.
Like you said,
strictly off of mathematics.
Strictly off math. And like you said, Rory, the more saves he makes, the more saves he has to make early on, the harder it is to climb out of that because you just have a larger sample size. If you had a smaller sample size, but he plays every game. So
That's true.
It's, and he can handle it. And I think he's a great goalie. And
but he's jumped like 20 percentage points. Like
maybe maybe his numbers right now aren't representative of his skill level, and I don't think they are because I think he is a 9-10 goalie. It's just
it's like a penalty kill trying to climb after a slow start. It's like a penalty kill trying to climb. It's hard. But I'm going to grant it because I think he can do it. And he's probably going to play 30, 40 more games. So.
I think he can do it. I'm going to not grant it, but I hope he proves me wrong and does it. That's what I'm hoping for. How about that? So there you go. That's Nugesy's wishes.
Happy birthday, Nugesy.
Happy Nugesy birthday. Let's bring up the schedule for the week. We just have the one day to show you because Tuesday there's 4 games tomorrow night. Weyburn's going to be in Melville. That's going to be a fantastic one. Viterra Division rivalry there. Battlefords is going to be in Nipawin. Melfort is going to be in Yorkton. That should be a good one. 2 top, 4 teams in the league right now. And Kindersley is going to be in Notre Dame, which actually has a lot on the line right now. Kindersley needs that win to stay in that conversation. And like we said, you got to beat the teams below you to move up. You got to beat the teams above you too, but you have to take care of business. And Notre Dame has been pesky. They've been the pesky hounds of late. Mm-hmm. So I'm not, who did we talk to last week that said, it was Killer Kaminsky, said, you can't take any team in this league this year lightly whatsoever because every team is battling and the standings are so close. Guys, I know we're only looking at Tuesday's schedule right now, but what are you looking forward to the rest of the week?
I actually like that Kindersley Notre Dame back-to-back series coming up because, Kindersley just lost both games against Flin Flon. Now they're that good team that are out of the playoffs. Notre Dame can still make a push. Estevan can still make a push. Nip wins 3 out of 4 points. So, I mean, it's November, right? We're seeing it's very, very hard to move up, but there is still a lot of time left. I want to shout out Elkridge, though, because it'll be my first time staying at Elkridge as the Broncos go up to Larange. We've never stayed there before. And they also sponsor Rory's Rapid Fire segment.
That'll be fun.
So shout out Elkridge.
You should get a picture with a bunch of the staff there.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
They sponsor your segment.
Yeah.
That's right.
That'd be fun.
I will.
Yeah.
Nugsy?
Yeah, I'm very interested to see the first time in a very long time that the Weyburn Red Wings have had to Chumbawamba. They've had to get knocked down and then get back up again.
That's fantastic.
2 losses to Battlefords.
Good reference.
Good pull.
Yeah.
Are they going to be like, oh, woe is us, our streak is done, boo-hoo, or are they going to go into Melville and take care of business? That's what I want to see.
You got some birthday wisdom with that reference. That was a fantastic reference.
Thank you.
I am going to say that Nugsy may be joining me, but on Friday night this weekend, we have the Highway 10 rivalry, the Melville and Yorkton rivalry in Yorkton, and I believe I'm going to it as of right now. Jacob Faith's going to be there. Nugsy might be joining me. My dad might be joining me. So it's going to be a party.
That'll be a spicy one.
That's going to be a fun one. So that's what I'm looking forward to later this week. But we have SJHL Insider on Thursday to preview that one. So we'll talk to you guys later this week about that one. Do you have something?
I was going to say, there's also, I've never seen this, first time this year, there's 4 games tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. It's a busy Tuesday.
Very, very busy. Yeah.
So I was talking to director Bryce in the back because we do the game day videos together. And then he just got back from Grey Cup, so he's a little tired.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, there's 4 games. We got a big game day tomorrow. And he's like, oh. You gotta have a nap tonight, Bryce. You'll be okay.
I need Kelly to cut those up.
Yeah.
If you're watching it there, Kelly.
Bryce needs to have a slumber. He needs to sleep. Anyways, nice week coming up. It's going to be a lot of headlines, and we'll talk about it all next week here on SJHL Weekly, of course. And SJHL Insider is back on Thursday. Nugsy and I will be joined by a special guest. I'm not sure who we're going to get yet, but we'll let you guys know when we know.
Find out.
We don't know yet. So we'll let you know. If you are watching on any of our social media channels, please make sure that you subscribe, like, follow, hit the like button, hit the retweet button, hit the share button, like us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. I haven't done a check lately in terms of our subscriber count on YouTube. If you give me like 14 seconds, I'll be able to check it out. We're at 1485. So we need to get to 1,500. So if you're watching on YouTube...
15 more people.
15. I mean, I called out Yorkton and it worked out for Movember. Yeah. So calling out everybody else. If you're watching on Facebook, head over to YouTube. If you're on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, a lot of our viewers don't subscribe to our YouTube channel. So make sure you do that.
You're just done or what?
Nugsy has to go. I know Nugsy has to go, so I'm going to wrap this up. Big thank you to our sponsors. I know he has to go because he has some family stuff he's got to get to. Cantera Seeds, Borgo, Capital Automall, Sask Lottery, Chevrolet, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association. Nugsy's like, I'm leaving.
I had no more notes.
What a subtle way of saying, all right, wrap it up.
Tourism Saskatchewan, Sask Energy, UPL, SGU, Great Western, SGI, and RBC. Thanks to all of our sponsors. We will see you guys on Thursday for SJHL Insider. Until then, have a big Tuesday night across the province. We'll see you on Thursday, and bye for now.